A second day of testimony in the trial for Plainfield landlord, Joseph Czuba. He is accused of killing his tenant, who was just 6 years old, because he was Muslim. Our Sara Machi's been in that courtroom today and joins us live from Joliet. Sarah, I understand this was another day of traumatic testimony.
Yeah, Mary Connor, then known as Mary Czuba, the wife of the defendant Joseph Czuba, just left through the back of this courthouse. As she was getting into that SUV, I asked her if she had anything to say, but she didn't respond. But while she was on the stand upstairs, she described just how quickly things changed in the relationship between Joseph and their tenants, Hanan Shaheen, and her son, Wadee Alfayoumi. Mary recalling Joseph as saying, quote, "Hanan needs to move because her friends could come and do us harm." But Mary says she reminded her husband that the mother had never had anyone come to their home, adding that Joseph was quiet and withdrawn that week. The last time she saw her former husband, he was sitting just hours before the attack at their kitchen table, working on a puzzle. Wadee Alfayoumi's mother, Hanan Shaheen, who was also injured in this incident, was notably absent from court on the second day of testimony after taking the stand for nearly 4 hours on day one, though the kindergartner's father was again seated in the front row. The prosecution called several first responders and the medical staff who treated the defendant and the victims to talk about their state immediately after the attack. A witness recalled the defendant, Joseph Czuba, had blood all over his body, on his hands, and he was sweating profusely. On victim Hanan Shaheen, "I observed her to be bleeding profusely from the face. And for 6-year-old Wadee, the amount of blood that was on the child, I couldn't even count the amount of stab wounds." Prosecutors have said Czuba attacked his two tenants at this Plainfield home on October 14th, 2023, because they were Muslim, referencing the events of October 7th in Israel just days prior. Prosecutors relied on body camera video and graphic photos to make their case, having one witness show the preserved clothes Czuba had been wearing that day to the jury. The defense has given very little insight into what their strategy may be here, previously telling the jurors to focus on any inconsistencies or changes in testimony. Today, with Mary Connor, they really stressed that Joseph Czuba never outlined any plans for violence with her. The state does have their last witness on the stand right now. They do expect that court will return and start at 9:30 tomorrow morning. If convicted, Joseph Czuba faces life in prison. From Joliet, Sara Machi, CBS News Chicago.
Tough day for everybody in that courtroom. Thank you, Sarah.